What do we do to teach children that their minds control their bodies and that they can learn to control their minds? Now, that can be a pretty tricky thing. What is it that we do to teach children? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my own children for 5 years, and what I talk about are those things I've studied and researched, applied, found what works and doesn't work, and that I feel would really be of benefit for you. Today, we're talking about our children being able to control their bodies with their minds, and that they really do have power to learn to be in control of their minds. Now, that doesn't mean from day one that they are in control, because children are not able to think about thinking until about age 7, and then their brains don't fully develop until mid-20s. And so what we're talking about are those things we can put in place that begin to teach them so that they can develop that skill. And the number one thing that I found for helping children develop that skill is awareness. Starting with body awareness, and then kind of mind and thinking awareness. But when the younger children, it starts with body awareness. And if your children are older and they haven't had an opportunity to learn that, then that is really where you would start. But with older children, sometimes you can do both at the same time if they're missing that body awareness. And so when children are struggling, you'll see so many children nowadays are diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, attention deficit or hyperactivity, or lots of things that really relate to their body and being in control or out of control of their body. And there's emotions, right? Emotions, sometimes we'll say, oh, you look angry, your face is all scrunched up. But we can go even deeper into what those emotions might feel like in their body to help them become aware. And there's times where I just have children check in with their bodies. I'll just pause, whether we're washing dishes, whether we're, it's an activity at school, if we're at church, if we're at like a worship service, I might just say, check in with your body, and just become aware of when, we might be feeling antsy, when our arms might want to be moving, like when a lot of people will jiggle their legs, or activities in their body to kind of express, what's going on. And that doesn't make any of those things inappropriate or incorrect. It's about becoming aware and checking in. Is this an appropriate time to express this? So when it comes to the younger children, or again, if the older children haven't yet had an opportunity to really become aware, because we think, oh, that's just something. They become aware just naturally as they grow older. And that is very often not the case until it is completely brought from, their subconscious brain to their aware brain, their consciousness. It's not something they may even notice. And so we'll go through, checking in with our bodies. Is there a part that feels tight, itchy? Some people consider that need to move as itchy, or different ways to describe it. And with young children, we'll give them words that describe it or could describe it. Is that more tight, or does it feel wiggly or itchy? Is it relaxed, or does it feel scrunched? We'll ask this or that questions. And sometimes we're completely wrong and it's neither of those. But what we're doing is we're giving the children an opportunity to hear words, to check in with themselves. And then as we do it a couple times, I've had children go, no, it's more like, and then they'll give me the words. But they don't start with giving me the words. It starts with me giving them some examples, some choices of what it could be, and then that gives them the opportunity, as we talk more and have more experiences with it, to then give me their words. So check in, use the vocabulary, and don't wait for things to be crazy before checking in. Learn to just check in when things are calm. And then, as we notice things might be escalating, they already know what they're looking for and they can feel that difference in their body. And so comparison is huge. So that's why it's so important to check in with them when things are calm, when things are regulated, when they're not antsy all over the place or starting to go stir crazy, so that they know what that feels like. And then when we check in, again, as soon as we can check in, as we notice those changes or those differences, the earlier response we can have. If we don't catch it and they're super escalated, you're going to wait to, as you're tucking them in at bedtime, or to calm over a meal if that's something that's appropriate for your family, to say, oh, what did that feel like? Because if they're super escalated, that's really not the time. You want to help de-escalate, give space as needed for varying situations. Okay, so that check-in, the vocabulary, noticing the differences so they can compare. What does it feel like when my body is calm and I'm, regulated? What does it feel like when I'm having a strong emotion, which will be different than when I'm dysregulated, though the strong emotions can lead to dysregulation. So check in with those things and do what's kind of age appropriate. And I'm going to put it out there, for some of us as adults, we haven't really done this ourselves. We might do it a little bit, like, just before we explode, we might notice we're a certain way. But like, how early can we notice it as adults? And that's another great thing we can do with our children, is use the self-talk. We can say, oh, I'm feeling something right now. I'm going to check in with myself. Oh, I can really start to feel, and we can do our muscles. Muscles are sometimes more obvious. I can feel my arm muscles starting to tighten, or I can feel my stomach starting to tighten. We can even talk with the youngest children, sticking with our bodies, but then adding in things as time progresses, like, oh, I really feel that pounding in my head, or I'm having trouble thinking clearly, things like that. And if we talk out loud, and then what are we going to do about it? I'm going to breathe a couple, take a couple of deep breaths and see if that helps my tight muscles to relax. I'm going to sing a song, because when we sing songs, when we do things that use like our vocal cords and in an open way, that can help stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps calm. We can do a couple yoga positions, whatever it is that you want to try. And, I'm going to do something different if I feel it in my body while I'm driving versus if I'm just at my house. I'm going to do something different in my house than I would at school. So learning different techniques that could benefit using our bodies to help regulate our bodies, but us in our minds telling our bodies that, oh, I've noticed, and this is what I'm going to choose to do because I've noticed. And so remember, children are great by their very natures. We have that responsibility and that privilege of raising them. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.